So now that you have a data set in Excel, this short tutorial will show you how to do a couple of basic kinds of analysis on this data set and on certain kinds of variables. So if we look at this first variable, which is whether or not people use a desktop or laptop computer. Let's say we wanted to do some very basic descriptive statistics of this. Right, so say we want to do a frequency distribution. We go up to Analyze, and we'll see that there's descriptive statistics. So we're going to be doing most of our analysis here, at least this semester. So if we go to Frequencies, it'll open this dialog box. And if you notice, you can actually put in a whole bunch of different variables. You can make this box bigger, it'll make it easier to read them. But if you hover over some of these, sometimes you can see them as well. Right? So if we just want to look at this very first variable, about using a desktop or laptop computer, we just want to know basic information about that variable. If we just click OK, our little output file opens up. And we get a little bit of basic information about it. The first is that it'll tell us how many people, how many valid answers to this question there were. And that's 3,082, and that 0 of them were missing. And I find this a little suspicious because usually there's some people who miss a question or refuse it. So if we go down here, we can get more basic information. So here's the variable name, the full question, you use a desktop or laptop computer to workplace, at school, at home, or anywhere else on at least an occasional basis, and then some information. So of the people, 80.9% said that they used a laptop. If you notice that there's percent here, there's valid percent. So this is the percent out of all of the valid cases. This is very important. So if you have a lot of missing variables for a particular case, you really want to be reading the valid percent and the cumulative percent. If you notice, people who said don't know or who refused the question were included here as answers. I would probably want to go back in and classify particularly refused as missing variables. These aren't particularly useful for me because I really just want to compare people who do and don't have a computer, not people who don't know whether or not they have a computer or whether they just refused the question. That's kind of missing material. So I can do that. I can just go back in and I can say, okay, I don't know why it keeps doing this. I'm going to classify people who answered as 8 and 9 as missing, and we shouldn't just do this willy-nilly, right? Making things missing variables. But say I want to go back through, and if I want to analyze it again, if you notice, if you open it back up, but your variable is still there. This is so convenient. I could click OK, and it would run it again with the changes that I made. But say this time I also want to do some basic statistics on this. So for example, I could look at quartiles, I could get the standard deviation, mean, median, and mode. For a question like this actually might not be that useful, but I know they did ask a question about year. What year did you first start using the internet? This is absolutely fascinating, right? This is a great interval ratio variable. And so there's some things I might want to know about this variable. I want to know the average year, the median year. These are all things that I can get because this is an interval ratio variable. I can get the standard deviation. I could get it cut off into quartiles or percentiles. I could tell it if I wanted that. All sorts of things. But I'm going to get those things. I'm going to tell it these are the kind of statistics I want. And you can go through and you can say also, oh, I'd like you to make a pie chart out of this. If you're really visual, that might be really useful. Or I might want you to order it by ascending or descending values, or the most common to the least common answer by ascending and descending counts. You have all kinds of options. But right now I just want to focus on statistics. This is the one where we really get the answers we need. So what happens is like, whoa, I get this huge frequency distribution table. Like, this is kind of hard to read. Apparently there were some people using the internet in 1920. I find that a little implausible. And I kind of wonder if there are people who say don't know and refuse. I might want to kind of take them out. I don't know how those were answered. But at the very top of this is a little tiny box that has my valid cases, my missing cases, my mean, which is 2,465. That's not right, right? And my median. So I think what I want to go back in is and figure out what happened there. What probably happened was that these really high, I put these really high numbers in as the missing values. And so I want to tell SPSS that anything above 5,000 is actually missing. Let's see if and that should do it, right? Oh, actually, nope. So I told between 9,000 and 10,000 that those are all kind of missing values. And let's see if it does in my analysis a little bit better, right? We should always use our brain about these things, right? If I know that the internet, the year that 2,489 has not happened yet, it's highly unlikely that that's the mean, right? So I get a really different results now. I get that the mean is 1999, but that's the average time that people access the internet or started using it for the first time, and that makes a lot of sense. That was about when it became publicly available. And then 2,000 as the median with some standard deviation there. So we can get a feel for some people started using it in 2013 for the first time. Other people started using it at other times. And so if we look at our percent now, this first column of percents, it uses some of these missing values. This is probably not what we want, right? What we should be looking at is the valid percent column to see out of people who did answer this question and did remember what year they started using the internet, you know, what kinds of answers did they give? Let's do one more. So some of these are answered very hard, somewhat hard, not too hard, not hard at all. And we would need to fix the missing values on those, right? How difficult it would be to give up the following things in your life. This is a series of different questions, right? So these are ordinal. And so say we're going to use that question instead of the one about years. And we're going to get the median. We can't get the mean on this. We're going to get the median and the mode. Whoa, we can't get that either. Okay, so what it does, it gives us this nice frequency distribution. It says, you know, how hard would it be hard for you to give up your television? People said, oh, well, that'd be really hard, or somewhat hard, not too hard, or not hard at all. And there's some people who says, you know, do not use, I don't have one, I don't know, I refused. So we don't want to go back in and make those missing because they don't kind of fit into the close-ended questions. If we look up here, it says that the median is 2 and the mode is 1. So we need to think a little bit about what SPSS is trying to say there. So it's saying that the things that are coded as 2, that's the median answer. And the things that are coded as 1, that's the mode answer. So if I go back in and I'm looking at the median, or looking at here, see that people who said when SPSS sees a 1, that's really the answer very hard, and 2 is somewhat hard. So this is what this is really saying is that the median is somewhat hard and the mode is very hard. Right? So that 50% of the people said it was somewhat hard or harder, and that the most common response would be that it would be very hard. So there's some basics in how to find the measures of central tendency.